Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerdstalgia podcast. I am your host, Tim, alongside with my co-host, Donnelly, Dan, and Rich. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you?
Dude. How are you doing, man?
I'll be honest.
Be honest. Shoot straight. Don't hold back. Drop it on my head.
I'm doing better than Jonathan Majors is. Let's put it that way.
Ooh.
Tip it on my head like so much slime in Nickelodeon.
Yeah, definitely a lot better than Jonathan Majors. So, good Lord. Good
You're going to have to elaborate. I'm not sure what's going on here with that.
With Jonathan Majors? Oh, my God. Dan, somebody want to fill Dan in?
Yeah, if you could.
Well, let's just say that it's good that King the Conqueror has it comes from the multiverse, and
I see what you're saying.
Probably be easily recast with very little explanation needed in universe.
I see what you're saying. Okay, I thought there was like a new thing that had happened. No, I'm on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean his agent dropped him.
Yep.
Which is never a good sign.
No,
Weren't there more people allegedly coming forward?
Yeah, I guess there's more allegations coming against him. I mean, this dude had his whole life set up. He had that Disney money, okay?
He was golden.
He was golden. And at the end of Quantumania, I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it, like they're building the next big villain over the next 10 years. And just like that, gone. See you later. Now, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
These allegations might fall through, but it doesn't.
I mean, when your talent agency drops you, though, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
It definitely does not look good.
No, it doesn't.
Although it's curious, though, that the talent agency dropped him before Marvel or anyone else. So that is kind of curious. Usually it's the other way around.
For a long time. They've been aware of it for long enough to know it was going to hit, and they were ready for it. They probably already had everything drafted up. The second it happened, they probably just dropped it.
That's a fair point. I hadn't thought about it like that.
They probably already had everything sewed up.
Could be. I mean, Disney's got the hush money. If they don't want to recast, they can dole out some money to everyone to keep their mouths shut. But before we dive in, we got a great show tonight. I'm going to give a shout out to the chat here in a second. Thank you everybody who's here right now joining us live every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight's show, we've got a good discussion for something that I'm personally extremely excited about. Not that you could tell from what's going on behind me, but we're talking about toys tonight, folks. We're talking about the best toys from our childhood growing up, what hits that nostalgia, what our favorite toy lines are, and we're going to rank them right here live on Nerdstalgia. So before we get started, I want to jump in and say hello to the chat. Tyler, thanks for joining us. Spoon Guy, Karen, Facebook user. That's a cool name.
I can't believe you got that one. That's pretty good.
Interesting.
Christy, Bagel, Patty, Tara, more Facebook users who for some reason they're not coming through. So if one of you can jump into the Facebook feed, let me know who that is. Kyle's in the house and more filtering in. Again, thank you so much for joining us live. I'm excited. How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty hyped, man.
Are you?
Yep. Just got down off the mountain. Was at a bachelor party all weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we were up in the Berkshires. It was a lot of fun. Rain the last day, but it was beautiful otherwise. Yeah, it was a good time playing bocce ball, drinking, hanging out. So yeah, really good time.
Awesome.
Yep.
Nice.
Deal.
How about you guys? How you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I had a good week so far. Last week's episode kind of inspired me. I went on a little bit of a horror kick, and I watched Smile, and I watched Evil Dead Rise. So that was both of those were really. I was really entertained by those. They were good.
I really liked Smile. That was a great one.
I haven't seen Smile yet.
You'll like it. You'll like it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a lot of fun to watch. It kept you just really interested throughout it, and it's like you still don't know what's going on fully. You don't quite understand.
It tickles the creep out factor perfectly. Like it. Yeah.
Nice. Now here's the deal. Spoilers aside, how was Evil Dead? How was the new Evil Dead?
I thought it was really solid. I also saw it.
Okay.
Awesome.
So you guys are going to have to jump on and do a review.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I was a little skeptical because I think in the last episode I mentioned it seemed like they were going to play it straight, and it wasn't going to be quite as campy. It did have a couple campy moments, but even though they did mostly play it straight, it was very clearly an Evil Dead movie. The tone of it is absolutely Evil Dead. I really enjoyed it. It was as gory as you would want it to be. There were some pretty fantastic kills. I was pleasantly surprised.
That's great to hear, because the last one for me was I didn't think they were going to be able to top it. So to hear that it's really good, I'm gonna really have to check that out ASAP.
I'll tell you, I think the production value was all there for it, and that was a big piece of it all. And some of the things, like, they could have gone one way, and you start thinking they're going to do that in certain kills, and then they just like last minute kind of soften it up or change it a little bit to what you thought was going to happen, and that really got me a few times. I was like, oh wow.
To keep you guessing in a horror movie is hard. It
was
to
fun.
Do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that they didn't totally lose, the essence of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
No, not at all. It seems like they're leaning into it, and it seems like they're setting up for a possible franchise, which is
I can see it.
Which is awesome. Great. Yeah, I'm all in on that if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm torn. I want to see a movie. I want to go this week to the theater and see something. It's a toss-up for me between Evil Dead and the Air movie.
What about the Pope's Exorcist?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but like I don't know if it's a theater movie. I think that's more of like your basement. I'm
just giving you crap. Yeah, no, I agree.
It your basement on the projector movie. That's what that one is.
100%. Yep.
We Ashley and I have been going back and watching all the like remake Godzilla and Kong movies. All like
yes.
I love those. Those are so cool.
I gotta be honest, and this is obviously in honor of the news of the new Kong versus Godzilla and the teaser that was thrown out there over the weekend. But dude, like I know Rich, you in particular, are like die hard on the original Godzillas. I'm not as big on the originals, but man, I love all the remakes. Like starting with 2014 Godzilla, then Godzilla King of Monsters, Skull Island, and then Godzilla versus Kong. I think they did a great job. And like when Ashley and I were talking, we kept pointing out the fact that the CGI in those movies is spectacular.
Yeah, it is.
It's very well done.
I don't know why. Like, they just have a bigger budget.
They had Jack Black budget. They were bringing in the big hitters. He did it. It was all Jack Black.
Yeah, I think the newer movies are really well done. I'm happy to see that it's continuing. Very excited about the new movie that now I'm looking forward to hearing more about that hopefully soon.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, we are not here to talk about Kong or Godzilla. We are here to talk toys tonight. And talk about some of our favorite toy lines growing up. And I mean, honestly, like we can talk a little bit about I know some of us are still collectors today. Dan, I know you've got some behind you. Donnelly,
Dude,
Rich, I know you don't have
in front of me, behind me, everywhere.
Yeah. So like, I guess I'll ask first before we dive into our rankings and the nostalgia toy lines growing up. What are you guys collecting right now? Like for modern toy lines, like where are you at with your collections now? What are kind of some of your goals?
So I'll go because my modern collecting is probably more limited than everyone else's. I collect Marvel Legends, and even within that, I have it narrowed down to Avengers and Thunderbolts. Otherwise, I mean, Marvel Legends, I mean, there's, thousands of them at this point. The line between the original Toy Biz and then Hasbro, there's thousands of figures over, I think, almost 20 plus years at this point. So I felt like I had to narrow it down. And even having narrowed it down to those kind of sub groups, it's still a pretty robust collection.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And with Marvel Legends, you have to and there's so many. I mean, you can do MCU, you can
it's
do
a big
comics.
commitment space wise.
It is. Now they're doing the animated lines, like X-Men animated Marvel Legends, which look amazing. They have like the cell shading and everything.
They look so good.
And they come in the little VHS boxes too.
Right.
They just look amazing. So I'm gonna try to pull a picture of one.
It looks so good too. Like that's the hardest part about toy collecting is figuring out which ones you can commit to getting either the whole set, whether it be space or money, but you can't collect them all. So it's like you're trying to you're combating yourself, trying to figure out like which one am I going to dedicate the space and the money to?
Yep.
It's a tough.
Marvel Legends for me, that's pretty much the only line that modern line that I collect consistently.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's
those look so good.
That's the cell shaded Wolverine.
Man.
So like this is some of them here. So you've got, Mr. Sinister, obviously Wolverine, Jubilee, and they do the little cell shading on the outsides to make it kind of look like that animated.
Yes, the classic Jim Lee look.
And what's great is they come in these boxes, like the X-Men animated, and they're also doing a Spider-Man animated one. They come in these boxes where it looks like the original VHSs, which I think is a really nice touch. It's something different.
It's really smart too, because they're giving you two pieces of displayable products. So you can have your figures, and then you can put the boxes behind them. Like,
Yep. For me, a little bit of transition might be moving here soon. So like, mine's a little bit in flux, but like it's Marvel Legends, obviously Star Wars Black Series, and then anything Ninja Turtles, like any NECA Ninja Turtles. I've delved into some Super 7 a little bit, even some of the original Playmates Turtles, you name it. I mean, in my opinion, Turtles figures are about as good as it gets, and
the vehicles too. Like the vehicles are top notch, and they're durable. I remember smashing the crap out of them when I was like just a dumb kid, had no forethought of like, hey, maybe I want to save this later. And they would hold up forever. Like those things would really hold.
They do. And what was cool about the Playmates Turtles back in the day is like at the time, all we had was like the Kenner stuff, right? You had like the Kenner Star Wars. You had like, there were small, you had the G.I. Joes, the 3 3/4 inch scale. And like they decided, all right, we're going to come out with the same scale, but we're going to make them meatier, bulkier. So even though they were technically the same scale of what we were used to, they weren't those like straight-legged figures. They were different. They had the bent arms. They were articulated different. There were some wild characters that literally were created out of thin air for that line, which I think was awesome.
And they all came with a lot of accessories.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were basic, but it was still more accessories than most toys of their time came with.
Yep. Yeah, I remember the little what were they, like the little
it was like the 3D print pack.
You could pop out.
The sprue.
Yeah. Sprue, that's what it's called, a sprue.
Yeah, sprue.
I knew you would know the name for that.
Of course it's called a sprue. Jeez.
And what's the thing at the end of your shoelace? Do you got that one?
Aglet.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Yep. This man cannot be stopped. Do not try to stop him.
Oh my God, Rich.
He's the force. Do not.
So we're going to try something a little bit different. So instead of waiting until my mother, Karen, I still find swords all over the cellar.
The cellar.
Down Sulla. Down Sulla.
She's like, I'm gonna be going down Sulla. I'm gonna sell them all on eBay, and then you're gonna wish you came back and got that cardboard box.
I'm pretty sure my Technodrome is still there.
I had that.
The Turtles Technodrome. Yeah,
I still have the eye if anyone needs it.
Yep. Used to take my TMNT figures outside in front of my house and would throw them up in the air as high as I could and watch them smash on the ground.
Yeah. There's no wrong way to play with them as long as you're not collecting.
I love it. So we're going to do something a little different. We're not going to wait till the end of the show to get to our rankings. We are going to dive right in. Tonight, we are giving you our top 5 favorite toy lines growing up, action figure lines. And we're going to start with Donnelly.
Oh, all right. Well,
number 5, descending order.
Number 5 is a classic. This was probably some of my earliest memories of playing with a toy, and that's why they're so fond with me, and I couldn't wait to get them for my kids. And they are upstairs in my living room right now.
Yeah.
Not being used because my kids are a little bit older, but it's Tonka trucks.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Tonka trucks is my number 5. I remember being small enough as a kid sitting in the back seat of the dump truck and just scooting myself all over the driveway, all through the grass, into the sandbox, loading that thing up with sand, and then just taking a knee in it and just kicking off like it was, some kind of makeshift skateboard. Just all kinds of fun. With creativity, a Tonka truck can be anything. I had the cement mixer too, which was awesome. Loading that up with sand and turning that over.
I remember being a kid and going to like a daycare or somebody's house, and they had like a working backhoe version of the full Tonka one. I was like, no way, it actually has the arm, the crane arm. It's not all bent. Like that was the best. That was the holy grail of like sandbox toy.
I mean, I don't think there was a toy that was more durable. I mean, you could bury that thing at the end of the summer and then dig it up the following year. And it was in pristine condition.
You could leave it in the driveway. Your parents would run it over with the Isuzu Trooper, and then they'd like, Jesus, get it out of the way, and they'd pick it up, and then you just pick it up and keep playing with it, like no problem.
I don't know if they still do it, but Tonka used to have a warranty, like a lifetime warranty on their older trucks, and
partnered with LL Bean.
If anything happened to it, like LL Bean.
Well, it's easy to have a lifetime warranty when your product is indestructible.
Yeah. It was great.
Oh my God. I love it.
Rubber smokestacks on them.
You ever trip over one? You ever run one of those like yellow backhoes into your shin? Things are made out of
stub your toe on one of them.
I'm pretty sure I chased my sister in one once or twice.
It took her a while before she realized she could run uphill and get away from you very easily.
Yeah, I still have the old Tonka toys that are made of metal from my father's childhood. Yeah, they were no joke. Yeah. My sister Barbie Mattel. Oh my God. I mean, I kind of knew you were gonna go there, but
what with the Ken and all.
And here's the deal: like, you can't even hate on Barbie because that was one of the most iconic toy lines ever. Like, let's be honest. Back when you'd be Toys or Toys R Us back in the day, like you had back when you could have, the boys aisle and the girls aisle. But
you still have that.
Just kind of throw that. Yeah, not for long. Give it another 5 years, that'll be gone too.
It'll just be the pink aisle and the non-pink aisle. I mean, it's always going to be separate.
It's so stupid, but they're already talking about it, by the way, on doing gender neutral toy sections, which that's a topic for another show.
Whatever gets toys in hands,
I guess. But I just remember going down the boys aisle, you see like all the Hot Wheels, the action figures. Then you look down the girls aisle, and it's literally bright pink and just loaded with Barbies. Like, there was like Barbies were so big back in the day. Like, I can't hate on it.
I mean, they sold
the Barbie movie. You're gonna watch. Tara will be there opening night. She will be there opening night. I can guarantee it. But that being said, there's a second one of the night. Maybe it's the first.
Nope,
let's go over to you, Dan, for your number 5.
Number 5, I got to go with the Ninja Turtle line. This is the let me just make sure I get the year right here.
Playmates 1988.
Is it?
Yeah.
I had it written down. Yeah. Well, so I went back and forth. So there was the first wave was 88, but then the second wave was 89. The second wave had the characters I liked the best. So I'm gonna go 89.
But it was the same. It was the same toy line though.
I don't know the difference between toy line and wave. I guess I'm not.
Well, wave on that part. Release of a toy line. So it's just like they come in waves, meaning like they'll release. Like the first line had the original 10.
Yeah.
So it came with the 4 turtles, April, Splinter, Shredder, the Foot Soldier.
Splinter had the actual robe, the fabric robe.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's all that was. Like the line itself was Playmates TMNT. It ran from 1988 through, I don't know, 1997,
I think. 7 or 8. Yeah. So if I can do that, I'm going to take the whole line because I had so many. I love those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, the weapons you could pop out. I mean, you had a whole palette. You had like, a bunch of different weapons. Even some of them they only use like a couple times. They'd put them in there because they know that kids, back then there was only maybe 60 episodes. Maybe by the time they started really getting popular. So, all the weapons were represented in the characters. And there was,
Did you have a favorite figure?
The swinging.
I went between Bebop and Rocksteady mostly because I liked that Bebop had the pink glasses.
Yes.
And for some reason I liked the neon, super bright, like day glow, aesthetic of some of those guys. Like,
I agree with
Baxter.
Tyler.
I like Baxter's coloration was really good.
I'm holding. So on one hand, I'm very happy that you have the turtles on your list. On the other hand, I'm shaking with anger at how low it is.
No, I get it.
Basically, an afterthought.
Well, the problem is a lot of them, by the time I was able to get to them, they'd be broken. Like, I went to a lot of daycares and stuff, so like, they'd be missing parts. It's like I played with them a lot, but they weren't my favorite because of that reason. Where like, I had a collection of them, but I really didn't have like. I had some of the bigger vehicles, I had some of those, but like, I played with them mostly like at other people's houses kind of stuff. But like, it was,
Well, it's coming up Facebook user here, but this is Bill. This is Bill. It says, my a-hole brother popped my turtle blimp. Bill, I got you. Give me one moment.
But yeah, like, so I love those because they were very durable action figures. Like you could whip them up in the air a bunch of times before anything was going to happen to them. You could run them over. They'd get all scratched. Look at that.
Hey, Bill, I got you right here, bud. It's like
so good.
Like the movie The Santa Claus when he gets the little weenie whistle.
Okay.
As an older adult,
yes,
that'll be you when I hand you this turtle blimp, Bill.
Well, that blimp was also the first thing to break in everyone's toy room, like everyone's like play area. That thing would get popped immediately.
Yep, and it would get crusty and yellow, kind of like the Stretch Armstrong back in the day.
the rubber starts breaking down. Yeah.
All right, Rich, number 5. I'm sorry.
Ooh, this was going to be a game time decision. This was tough. What it came down to,
it's game time.
Yeah, so. I know it's game time. I'm still haven't quite decided yet. All right, so
gun to your head. Gun is to your head.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go with Robotech.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
All that build up for that.
Well, so there's a reason for that. It was kind of my introduction to giant robots that change form. Which
I know why.
You will. There will be a common theme in my top 5.
I already know, like you've got. I'm not going to say it because I could probably guess your whole top 5 right now.
Probably just about, yeah.
Yeah, but the ordering was excruciating. I bet.
I think I could get the order too.
So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Robotech. It was based on a. So those are some of the newer figures, the modern remakes, but it was a show that was based on 3 different Japanese anime shows. And the basic premise was that, these aliens attacked Earth, and the whole of Earth pooled the resources and created these giant mechanized planes and tanks and things that transformed in order to combat the alien invaders.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, the show was fantastic. I have very fond memories.
Nobody's ever heard of it.
It looks awesome. As a kid, I would have been into that if I would have seen it. Yeah.
Oh, so Tim, the Mushroom Men. I think that's a good idea. I don't know if you see that comment.
I like that comment too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that Robotech was the show and the toy line that got me into giant robots.
Fair enough. I don't know anything about Robotech. I'm going to text Donnelly right now.
Yes.
Mushroom Men threw this out. I'm going to guess his top 5 right now.
Let's see. While you nail that down, do you want to do
now
yours?
Now it's down to 4. But yeah, why don't you go ahead with your number 5, Donnelly?
I already did my number 5.
You did? So it's on me.
It's
on you. Dang.
So my number 5, and I know like there's a little bit of an age differential with like one of you, Rich. I know you're like a year or 2 away from like applying for Social Security, so you might not be into this. But Power Rangers, man,
older and wiser.
You are definitely wiser. There's no question there. That doesn't take much though, because I'm a little slow. But Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and just the originals. None of the horse shit that came after that.
Yeah.
All I cared about was the first series, okay? First show and the first movie. I want Rita Repulsa. I want Lord Zed. I want the originals. I want the Dragon Zord, Goldar, the Putties, Megazord. That is one of the few quote unquote transforming robot toys that I liked as a kid. Was the fact that you could just do so much with it. You could take all the Zords and create a Megazord, or you could then pair it with the Dragon Zord to create the Dragon Megazord. And then there was another variation you could do also.
There was the big sword, right? You could have his huge power-up sword, I think.
GoBots. That's a shout out there.
So I only knew one person to this day, as far besides Tim, to my knowledge, that only ever had the whole thing, the whole Megazord.
Yeah, I had it. I had the Megazord. I never owned the Dragon Zord.
No.
Karen apparently didn't want to shell out for that one. But
to answer Mushroom Man, Voltron came before.
It did. Yep.
Voltron is one of the inspirations for the Zords in the Power Rangers.
Interesting. So it's kind of like the Beetleborg to the Power Rangers, where like one came first and then the other one tried to kind of do something different with the similar concept.
You know what drove me crazy about the Power Rangers toys was, why did they have that ridiculous emblem on their chest?
Because the Power Rangers, and they had to
Rita Repulsa would know what's up.
But they didn't have that in the show.
It was
the characters didn't have that.
Oh, the
like, you know, whatever their token was. You know how they had the token that they would wear on their belt or what have you?
Yeah.
They had it in the show.
Yes, but the toys had it like printed on the chest of the character.
Oh.
Instead of it just being the white diamond, it would be like the white diamond with that printed on it.
I got you.
I wonder if the toy line was like, we need to counter. There's symbol of hope. I wonder if the toy company was like, all right, these are all going to get left in everyone's mom's Toyota. It's going to get sun bleached. We have to put something that's not a color on these things so you can tell them apart. And they did that. Maybe, I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, so quick sidebar, Tim. Have you seen the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always movie that just came out, or extended episode, or whatever they're framing it as?
I have not, but I am planning to, and I'm sure it's terrible, but I'm gonna watch it.
I hear it's pretty. I hear it's actually pretty decent for know for something Power Rangers. You know, Power Rangers are always light on story and plot, but I hear it's pretty good.
Well, it's got the worst fucking character too, with Billy. Like, Jesus Christ.
Billy, he was the one who was in the show the longest. He went through so many iterations. All the way
because
through, like,
he's got no other talent or anything else going on in life.
Force and all that. He was
all he's got. 63 years old. He's still a fucking Power Ranger.
Listen, he found it and he held on. He just
never
let go.
I'll tell you what, that sounds like jealousy to me.
Coming from someone wearing a blue shirt, Tim. Come on, man.
I have been known.
Tim's just pissed that he's not a Power Ranger.
I do resemble the Red Ranger, though. I will throw that out there. I've been called that before, Jason. But anyway, I want to throw something out here before we get. And I'm talking like current, not back then. Like current fat Jason, not the original. But that being said, 3. I did text Donnelly Rich's.
Excellent.
4.
Interesting.
Donnelly has the 4. Okay?
I have the 4. I have the next 4 in order.
My prediction, my prediction is that the order is incorrect, but the entries are correct. You have.
We'll see. I don't know. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, this is live.
I think the order is also correct.
Okay.
I do. We'll see. We'll see. So Donnelly, number 4.
So my number 4, and I was going to see if you guys were going to accept this, because my toys, I feel like, were fairly limited in the actual toys that I had and played with a lot as a child. So the ones that I have the best memories of are things like McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
Yeah, absolutely. Back when they were good.
Yes, back when they were good.
I remember.
I was going to grab it, but I forgot to bring it, and it's the Triceratops. I was actually up cleaning out my parents' basement, and I found the Triceratops there. And my kids were blown away when they saw it. They were like, wait, what? And it flips the head back, the dinosaur face and stuff, you know? Somewhere up there is also the hotcakes that turns into a pterodactyl.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, Happy Meal toys back when they were genuinely toys, not like links to an app or
a poster
stickers
that you weren't going to color and it's covered in burger grease.
And
it's got to go in the trash.
Crayons that you would work better as candles. Like
the Happy Meal toys were amazing back then.
They used to be
packs of Legos. I used to get whole ass packs of Legos.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
with like a wheel, some clear parts, like real Legos. Like
I'm sorry, rest in peace, Tommy, the Green Ranger or the White Ranger.
Big rips.
Love letter for Tommy.
Tommy was the man.
Mushroom Man thinks I hit it. I do. I think I nailed it. But we are going to find out. Kyle, love letter for days.
He was the Green Ranger in real life.
He was, and that's what killed him. But
he was beating people's ass right up into the end. He was roundhousing grown adults right up until the end. Like that's awesome.
Like
I don't
Johnny
get
Lawrence.
Yeah, that is awesome. He's out there representing.
I love it.
He was out there representing.
Dan, number 4, what you got?
Number four is I got the Hasbro 1994 Hasbro Mortal Kombat. The first run of Mortal Kombat action.
Dude, I know exactly the figures.
Yes.
And good God, those were good.
Yeah, those were incredible. I love they had, I think for me, I think they were the most points of articulation of anything I had. So like you could actually do really cool, like, ninja moves and everything with them. You could really try to feel like you were fighting. They had a Goro, they had Shang Tsung, they had, Reptile, Smoke, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. They had huge, like all the heavy hitters right off the rip. They were really hard to find in the stores when I was trying to get them. Like, yeah, they were like, you could always find a couple of them. You could find a Scorpion, you could find a Shang Tsung, but it was hard to get some of those other ones like Reptile.
Dude, they were so good.
Johnny Cage was hard to get. Goro was impossible. I never even held a Goro in my hand. No one had a Goro.
Ooh, Reptile. Nice.
Yeah,
I had Sonya, I had Sub-Zero, I had all those. Yeah,
these were so good. Those are some Street Fighters.
Yeah, that's also the Street. Those were that style of action figure though, but that in particular, the Mortal Kombat ones, they held up great. I think the only thing that ever failed on them was the rubber band that held the torso onto the hip.
Well, dude, these were literally an exact replica of G.I. Joe figures.
I was just gonna say that was the kind of Achilles heel of the G.I. Joe figures.
And that's what I love, because I personally didn't give a single shit about G.I. Joe. However, I loved Mortal Kombat. So I was like, all right, let me take this thing I didn't care for or really care about that much. And then now I have, like, it was a copy and paste for me. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like. I used to watch that movie constantly, just play with those. But yeah, I got to give
that original one, man. It gets a ton of hate. I think was I talking to you about that?
The original Mortal Kombat?
The Mortal Kombat movie. I loved it.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of hate. It's cheesy as hell.
So good.
God, I love that movie.
I love it.
It's so great.
I love the cheese too. I'm glad it was exactly what it was.
The second one was atrocious, but the first one was good.
Yeah, they were biting off a lot more than they could chew on the later iterations, but the first one they kept it very simplistic for an origin story.
Yeah, He-Man. We got Jay Brendan. I can't pronounce. I don't want to butcher your last name. He-Man and Masters of the Universe. Those take me back. What is it?
Oh, it's Brendan. He's actually one of the guys that I was hanging out with at the bachelor party.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a childhood friend I used to hang out with in Rhode Island. I would go to visit my cousins. Yeah, he's a great dude. I was hoping he would show up.
Yep, those take me back to playing with my older cousin's Epic Toys. I remember a convertible I had. Yep. I know those are going to be on somebody else's list here too.
Yep.
But Rich.
So the new Mortal Kombat movie starts filming in June.
It does, and I can't wait.
I thought
they've already confirmed
really good.
It was really good, and they've confirmed Baraka, Shao Kahn. Who else? There was somebody else, a big notable name. Another big villain they announced. I can't think of it, but
well, in the end of the last movie, they teased Johnny Cage, so I mean, he's got to be in it.
They're rumoring to try to get Mike Mizanin, the Miz,
really
as Johnny Cage,
as Johnny Cage. And when I heard that, I was
perfect.
like, "That'd be perfect."
It fits the bill so well.
Yeah, it really is. So I kind of hope they pull that off. But
perfect.
Yeah, he doesn't have to change his character at all.
Let's see if I can go 1 for 1 on the next four here. Rich, number 4.
TMNT.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No, we screwed it up.
Okay, so you did that on purpose. He did that on purpose.
Screwed it up.
It is written down.
He did it on purpose.
Is that pen?
Here. I don't want to give spoilers away.
Unreal. Unbelievable. That's just straight fuckery right there.
It's written in pen, but when he stands up later, he's gonna have a bunch of those little what do you call it? The little what is that? The whiteout strips are gonna be stuck.
You
to
remember the strips?
Like he was
never get it inside the line, so it never looked quite right.
It would always look like you bought.
It would always curl up inside the thing. Oh, it's atrocious. I don't know why atrocious is a favorite word of mine tonight.
It's a good word.
Not
atrocious.
Yeah.
It's not an atrocious word.
Why so low? Because that's an atrocious placement of TMNT.
So the reason is that it came along later in my childhood. So I didn't have as much time with that particular toy line than the rest of you guys probably did. And I didn't have that as much time with that toy line as I did with the rest of my top 5. And that's really the only reason. It was my number 1 was locked in from the very first, and then 2, 3, 4 really could have been in any order, but basically, as I kind of just explained, what it came down to is the impact on my specific childhood. And Turtles, as much as I love them and I adore the Turtles, I just it was towards the end of me playing with toys and then transitioning into video games. So it was
natural evolution.
Yeah, it was one of my absolute favorite toy lines. The figures were, as we've already said, they came with a bunch of accessories, which was not the norm. Usually you got like 1 blaster, maybe 2. The Turtles came with, they all had throwing stars, and they came with their main weapons, but then they came with like little daggers, and they were super durable. Yeah.
The most flashy packaging of anything at the time.
Right. Very bright. You couldn't miss them on the shelves. Oh, yeah. I know, Dan, I asked you what your favorite figure was. My favorite original Turtles figure was Metalhead.
Okay. Metalhead. I had that one. Yep. That one was really cool.
Yeah. That's a great figure.
That one was really cool. That one did stand out quite a bit. He looked important. Like when you lined him up with all the other ones, you're like, this one seems more important.
Hey, Kyle, why don't you stop texting me while I'm on a live YouTube feed and you're literally in the chat? Just going to throw that one out there.
But, I'm trying to blast it.
Jesus, put it in the chat, man.
A little
low on the Turtles, but Tara actually had a little shout out here. Do Colorform.
I was gonna say Colorform.
Man.
Do you guys remember Colorform?
I remember those things.
Absolutely. Yep.
You would just use them until there were so many little black pieces of shit and hair all over them they wouldn't stick anymore, and you
just to the windows, stick them to everything.
Yeah, you'd be running it underwater and ruining them even more.
Come on, baby, one more stick, just one more stick, and it would just
for me. Right up there with Light Bright.
Light Bright.
Oh my God, Light Bright.
Yeah. I did buy a Light Bright not long ago, maybe about a year ago.
They're making a resurgence.
They're miniature ones now. They're like
they're small, but you know what though? The frame size is about the same, but they're only like 2 inches thick instead of having that huge thing with all the lights you had to do. But what's also cool about it is the way that it punches through. It has like a rubber backing so that you punch through, and then when you pull it back out, it reseals off. So that when the LEDs are on, there's no more having to have that piece of paper there. You can literally just punch into it, make your design. Cool. Without having black paper.
You can actually take a picture of it without having a gigantic lens flare in the middle.
It's similar, but not related. Do you guys remember Shrinky Dinks?
Shrinky Dinks, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny that you bring that up because
not pills. Don't take those.
Maybe 2 months ago, I was making some Shrinky Dinks with my sister-in-law and wife.
Really?
Okay.
That's right. True story.
You were making Shrinky Dinks.
Yeah.
Preparing.
There were the sheets of plastic that you would draw a design on, and then you cut them out and you throw them in the oven, and then they shrink up into a hard acrylic with your design permanently imprinted on them.
Yep, they melt. Yeah.
Well, Shrinky Dinks.
Shrinky Dinks are still great.
Maybe we need some Nerdstalgia logo Shrinky Dinks.
Why is that on loop?
And how do we end it?
It's part of the joke.
Fire the audio guy.
You did that last time.
I think it's funnier when they mess up.
Jesus. Yeah, we got some good call outs. Fuck Light Bright. Yes. I agree. Karen, you spit on yours
Your shrinky dink? Did you spit on it?
Out of context, that comment's fantastic. Checkers, Viewmaster.
Viewmaster, that's a cluster.
Viewmaster,
yeah.
Raphael action figure called Swimming Raph, and his arm flailed. Oh yeah, in the motion with the butterfly stroke, it was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when they started getting weird. They started running out of ideas.
Yeah, they're like, these
Actually,
are the
date
the
night
lines
idea.
for Tub.
Yeah, next time next date night, we're gonna make shrinky dinks together. But
I got the paper.
I'm just gonna fall in a puddle.
Oh my god, I am too. Jesus Christ.
That's good.
Jesus. All right. Where are we? What number?
I don't even know. I lost track.
I know I did my number 4.
It's on me.
It's on your number 4, Tim.
Yeah, I just went.
So it's on me. Number 4. I can promise you it's not shrinky dinks. Fruit scented markers and crayons. Those were great. I used to huff the shit out of
Mr.
those.
Doodle, right? Isn't that what it was?
No limits. You could huff away, man. They wanted you to.
They did.
They wanted you to.
End up with a purple nose because you love the grape so much.
Yeah, no problem. Let me get that answer for you real quick, Ma. Okay, we got 2 plus 2 equals.
You know what I used to love the smell of? Gasoline.
Oh no, I still do.
That explains
I don't do anything with that knowledge, but I love it.
I'm not even joking. Someone pump gas, you just get the whiff of it in the background. Now I can't stand the smell of it, but man, I used to love the smell of gas. Just sniff it and pass right the fuck out.
No.
So my number 4, to reel it back in here, you mean flavored? Oh Jesus! I still like the smell.
I went
of
to
it.
the special school.
Oh God, this is amazing. My number 4 is interesting because I didn't really play with them as a kid. Okay. Wasn't big on them as a kid. I've grown a whole new appreciation for them as an adult, and just what they did for the toy industry, and just the way they kind of broke the mold on the action figures that we had at that point. I got to go as I burp. I got to go with number 4, Masters of the Universe. He-Man figures. You can't beat them. The detail, the play sets. A good action figure line has good vehicles and play sets. They had Castle Grayskull. I
have Castle Grayskull.
You do have Castle Grayskull.
I actually found the other half of it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got to get it cleaned up, and then I'm going to bring it up. I'll have it for next week, though.
Castle Grayskull may have been one of the top play sets of the 80s.
It is amazing. I mean, you had Snake Mountain, Castle Grayskull. You had some of the little vehicles that they had. I couldn't tell you what the names of the vehicles were, but like awesome figures, bright colors, super unique toys. What I appreciated about it is the toys were made first. That was kind of started that trend, really. Turtles kind of started to do that, where they came out with a toy line and they basically demanded a cartoon to sell the toys. So they followed kind of the blueprint of Motu. So Masters of the Universe, number 4 for me, and it's the only one on my list that I didn't actually have as a kid and really like play with and love. But I think it belongs in the top 5. Sure. So Donnelly, number 4.
Number 3.
Well, we got to do Rich's number.
Number 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rich did his number 4. Tim was
disappointed. I mean for the next one for the guest. I want to.
Oh, for the guest. Oh, yeah.
Just remind me.
My number 3 is something that I discovered could be hooked directly up to the garden hose because the water tank on it was the same connection as a garden hose, and that's the Super Soaker XP series.
Ooh.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh, yeah. You know, that pumping would get exhausting. You'd sit there and pump that gun up and then spray, 150 yards. Well, let me tell you hook this up to a garden hose and turn that on full blast. You're shooting 200, 300 yards, leaving bruises from 5 feet.
Oh yeah, you're shooting Sam right off his hoppy. You're annihilating anthills. Yeah, you're cooking. You're stripping the paint right off your
birds right off the side of the house.
Just peeling back those vinyl shingles, man. You're wrecking it. Yeah,
I can just hear my father now. Like I'm walking outside to fill up a Super Soaker. Hey Timmy, while you out there, you want to pressure wash the side of the garage?
Like, yeah, sure, you could with this thing. Let me tell you,
it was either that or it was the goddamn windows open.
Oh my God, dude! Donnelly's rankings tonight are amazing and slightly erotic.
I aim to please.
I would say the inverse and the polar opposite of Shrinky Dink going on here. But constant pressure, so much fun pain.
Yes. Literally bruises would be left behind.
Oh,
I would love to know the people that jump in like midstream here and just like they're hearing shrinky dink and so much pressure, so much fun pain.
You blasted right in your shrinky dink.
They've already unsubscribed.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
We're losing viewers by the minute.
I only subbed so I can unsub.
Oh my god, I love it. So, Jesus, Dan, number 3.
Number 3. Oh, number 3 is a treat. We got
Okay.
we got 1995 Mattel Street Sharks. The Street Sharks line is incredible. Like
I'm so glad that somebody put those on their list.
Yeah, if you didn't grow up with Street Sharks, you owe it to yourself to look them up. They're ridiculous, and the action figures were huge and heavy.
They're enormous.
Durable. They're enormous. Yeah, you could only bring one with wherever you went. You're like, I want to bring one toy.
Yeah,
you throw it in a baby Bjorn and you'd be off to Walmart.
Whoever came up with Street Sharks was definitely on drugs.
Oh,
I mean, whoever came up with half of these fucking toy
there's
lines.
a whole set of franchises that make no sense whatsoever.
Look at that.
See, I don't really remember the toys much, but I definitely remember the cartoon.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it religiously.
And when
That
you go back and watch the cartoon now, it's weird. There's like three frames a second. There's weird dialogue, but it's like an acid trip. Like you got to check it out. It's very of its time. Criminally of its time.
The show is horrible, but
oh yeah, no, it's bad, but it's
toys
fun
are
to watch.
amazing. Do you remember the ones that were on skates? There was a couple of the Street Sharks that were on skates.
Yes, they had rollerblades.
Well, Blades, yeah, the one that had rollerblades was Blades.
Oh, it was just the one. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
I know the name might have thrown you off, but the naming conventions for these were not very.
Oh yeah. He's got the rollerblades. I don't know if I ever actually watched the show.
You got Big Slamoo.
It sounds terrible,
dude. It's awful.
Oh, the Hammerhead.
Yeah, the toys were incredible. Like, you would pull back on the fin and it would chomp the mouth.
Yep. Yeah, dude, you drop one of those or you step on one of those. One of those hits your feet. You are fucked.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
Patrick makes a really good comment here with Vin Diesel. So So Vin
Michael
Diesel
Myers from
debuted the line in 1995.
Oh my God.
It was called Toy Fair. He literally came in there. Yeah. I mean, obviously he was just doing weird stuff just to see what was going to be his niche or whatever, but he killed it. He was up there just playing with them, smashing them around, showing why they're fun. Like, it was the most honest endorsement of an action figure set I've ever seen. None of this false advertisement crap. He was just like, no, see, this one's Big Slamoo, and he just like smashes. He's like, he can take a hit.
So Vin Diesel is a huge nerd. Like, he's a big D&D guy.
Yeah. Oh, he lives it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you are not joking. He's literally.
Oh, it's one of the greatest things on YouTube. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on here? What does that look? What is he doing?
He's getting ready to play with some Street Sharks.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. No, he's yeah. Look, he's got Big Slamoo. He knows.
Fantastic.
He is Big Slamoo. He's probably trying to like get a role in the movie 30 years before they remake it, even though it hasn't been made once yet.
He's just putting them all together around like a small little toy dollhouse dinner table and just saying it's family.
How has nobody pitched a Street Sharks live action movie at this point? Seems like it's just ripe.
There's enough nostalgia there. I bet it would take off. That Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
It would just give me King Shark the movie. I mean, let's get King Shark from Suicide Squad. I want to just put some rollerblades on him. He can be all of them. He can be a whale shark and have rollerblades and be a piranha.
Mike, I know that when you played with Stretch Armstrong, you were always that little douchebag that let go of the fucking hand of one side.
I'm not gonna let it go.
So it would just smash into the other person holding it. I could just tell. But family, bedroom eyes, sweet necklace. Yes. Number 3, Rich.
Masters of the Universe.
How did I do, Donnelly?
For number 3, I think that you nailed it. You nailed that one.
I did.
Okay.
Nail that.
And then I guarantee that your number 4 spot's going to be the number 2.
It is 100%. It is. I know it. I already know it.
Okay.
So I missed one is essentially, but it's going to affect 2 spots, unfortunately.
All right. But, Masters of the Universe, Tim pretty much said everything. It was just, the line was colorful. Each character was very unique. They each had their own gimmick. Remember like the moss guy actually smelled like weird artificial chemically moss or whatever.
They rubbed a little peat from the Scotch factory that they
remember Stinkor?
Yeah.
They tried to make
him smell better.
They had to stop making it because it stunk their factory up so bad that they had employees complaining. The material they were using
outrageous
to make him smell was called Stinkor. He was supposed to smell like a fart, and he didn't. It just smelled like some weird, shitty concoction, like some strong chemical that nobody could handle working in the plant making.
It's probably the fart bomb stuff to use.
Right?
But yeah, Castle Grayskull, as I said, one of my absolute favorite play sets from my childhood. That was like the pinnacle of my toys and my collections. They came with the sorceress. That was she was only available with Castle Grayskull, so that was pretty coveted. It was just a really great line. I mean, just iconic to this day. I mean, Skeletor. I mean, I've seen like 5 Skeletor memes just today.
The Skeletor memes there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. So good stuff. I even enjoyed, for what it's worth, the He-Man live action movie.
It wasn't bad.
It's not great. Bad. It's not great, but you know what? Yeah.
God, it's great.
I mean, it's not, but I still enjoy it.
I enjoy it
for what it is.
I'll tell you, when they figured out how to play music on that thing there, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what the name of it is, but I finally remember that as a child when they're playing the music on that instrument piece thing that opens up the portals or whatever, the key.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You
know what my biggest gripe was though with the
Courtney
movie?
Cox was in that.
She was in it, yeah.
You never got to see He-Man hold the fucking sword up and just say, "I have the power." Like that never happened.
I mean, that was most of
drop a ball on that. I don't get it.
I mean, the movie took place on Earth as opposed to Eternia.
Yep.
Most of the characters, with a few exceptions that everyone was familiar with from either the cartoon or the toy line, didn't make an appearance. No Orko. I mean, what the fuck?
No Orko. Yeah.
I mean,
they had that little goblin guy instead, basically.
Right. I mean, objectively speaking, it's a shit movie, but I still enjoy it for the nostalgia sake.
Speaking of Eternia, Rich, did you see Mattel Origins crowdfund they did months back?
I did.
For the Eternia playset.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
This thing takes up the size of like a small bathroom. Like, I don't know where the fuck you put this. It looks amazing, but they are still making Masters of the Universe toys today. They look amazing.
Wow.
I don't collect them. I dabbled a little bit. I have a few, but I'm not going to go down. It's such a rabbit hole.
You'd have to own a mansion.
What I like about the new line is that they look identical, and they advertise this on the box. They look identical to the originals, but they have modern articulation.
And they're a little bit brighter. Their paint apps are a little bit better, but overall they nail it. And they even fucked up with He-Man's face on the very first wave, and they went back and fixed it and gave him the original face, which
they knew what they did.
Yeah, I'll hand it to them there. Like, I thought that was amazing.
It was the same guy that changed the Freddy Krueger face. It was the same dude. He's blackbarred from Hollywood now. They don't let him do anything.
So real quick,
the first Sonic.
Before I let Tim take his number 3. So a little known fact about the
better than taking my number 2.
The swords that came with He-Man and Skeletor actually fit together, and then you use them to unlock the drawbridge. Jesus,
no, jawbridge. No, I'm serious. It's called the jawbridge.
The jawbridge.
Yes, you had it right.
The Street Sharks built it. It's the jawbridge. You read it right.
Anyway, little known fact. I mean, obviously us nerds know about it, but maybe
fucking mustache hair just got caught in the tab.
Ooh, and you pull that out.
And I went to pull it out, and I felt like my whole face was about to come off.
That's enough to make your eyes water.
Yeah, that's not fun.
It did make my eyes water. It's like burping and Coca-Cola coming out your nose. That was the same feeling.
Your eyes light up and your tummy say howdy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So for my number 3, I hope to God this is on one of your lists. I really hope. But I had so many of these goddamn figures. It is Kenner, which makes my list more than once. And it's not the Kenner you think. It's not Kenner Star Wars. It is Kenner Batman. And these, and I'm not talking DC Superpowers. I'm talking Kenner Batman. The animated series, they did Adventures Continue line. These figures were amazing, and they had usable weapons and vehicles that all had little tricks and little things that they could do.
Yeah.
You had about 3,700 different versions of Batman. You had like heavy suit Batman, you had like red suit, you had aquatic Batman, you had like space Batman. It was amazing. It was a fun line. The articulation was just enough that you could just set up some amazing scenes and just really play with these things like no other. Amazing figures. And honestly, like if I were to go back and collect these, I'd get a few of them on card. I'd keep them in the package, display them that way, because the card art on these things were so good. All that COD art.
The COD and the unscuffed helmets, like when they were shiny, when they were brand new, like they never looked cooler. They got all like weird and chalky over time. You know, they get, exposed to the sun and scraped up.
Yeah, they just look awesome. Like the animated series ones in particular were some of my favorites. Like here's an example of that. Like they just look, the card art on these things looks so good. Awesome figures. They even had like, the Batman Forever line. They did some of the movies. They've got like a Tommy Lee Jones figure. There's Mr. Freeze. Like,
that's good.
The line was, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest toy lines, not just my favorites, but it's like one of the greatest toy lines ever.
Quintessential.
So colorful and so much fun. And for that, they are deserving of the number 3 slot.
Wow. Your New Hampshire really comes out when you say art.
Does it?
Art.
I'm trying to say art, but art. But
I spotted wicked bad in art class, Lois. It's entire New England too. It's Rhode Island.
It's fucking COD art. But number 2, over to you, Donnelly.
So my number 2, I don't know if you guys are even familiar with, but I loved these things, and it was a little bit later that I started playing with these.
Pogs. You're going to say Pogs.
They're not Pogs, no. But just as many letters. It was great from the concrete garage that I had, where it was a nice smooth surface for X-Mods.
X-Mods.
They were a Radio Shack exclusive toy.
I don't know if I know what that is.
Right. Radio Shack would have
it. Tim, pull up the image.
I know that there's people in the chat who know exactly what I'm talking about. And
X-Mods.
These things were little customizable RC cars that were modeled after real cars. So you can get like, a 2000 Corvette, and you could put custom struts. There's a perfect example of one. You had body kits for them. You had different motors for it. You could convert it to be an all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. It had all different types of modifications, gear ratios for the transmissions and stuff inside of it.
That's pretty cool.
So cool.
Yeah, it was really nice of them to create a toy for an entire generation that didn't have ADD, and they could actually focus long enough to do any of that stuff.
You know what that reminded me of? And maybe this was a New England thing, I don't know, but I have very vivid memories. It's not customizing the cars, but did you guys ever have slot car racing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, of course.
Yep. You did, screwed right to a big old piece of plywood.
Yeah, well, it was like these, you would go, there was these like, so I grew up in New Hampshire in the middle of fucking nowhere in Somersworth, New Hampshire, and little hole in the wall places that were like behind like a sub shop or something. And like, you could go in and like, I remember like my father would take me there, and like there were people in there, like adults that were with their kids, and they were like gambling on it. They were like putting money down to do slot car racing. And it was like this little, what was it, like some kind of electricity that would just make these things go flying around. You could spend an insane amount of money on these things. They were just light little plastic molds with certain wings on them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
just remember,
I have friends who are in a league that do
Yeah,
slot car
dude.
racing league. Like that's still a thing.
Yeah.
There's people locally that do that,
It's
you know, and
crazy.
it's crazy the amount of money they put into these things for the different motors and all that kind of stuff.
Dude, my
Absolutely.
father built this like all wooden case with like all the brass little knobs and buckles to open the thing up, and it had all this like it had like felt inside for all the cars and all the pieces.
Oh, wow.
Like he had this fancy case, and it was a serious hobby there for a little while. Like we went pretty regularly. My mother remembers. Yep, Plastow, New Hampshire. Yeah.
That's crazy.
There was another one in Rochester. We used to go to the one in downtown Rochester by Moe's Sandwiches. It was behind Moe's Subs, and we would go there too. I'm sure he'll remember, but it was a blast. And like, I don't know why the X mods just reminded me of that, but for whatever
it's kind
reason,
of a similar concept, just not on the same like slot.
Exactly.
Slot cars are definitely cool. What's cool about the slot cars is the drivers had a lot of influence on how those races went, you know, because that's how much power you're giving to that lane. And that's what it all was. Your car was stuck in the same lane, and based on how much power that lane got would be how fast your car goes.
You had to know when to pinch the accelerator, when to, you know, it was, and you had to make sure you cleaned out the hair on the axles every single race, or else you had a huge disadvantage. You pick up a couple pubes or cat hair on graphite to get it.
Oh my God.
You get them locked right up. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Just a reminder for those of you in chat, if you haven't already hit that thumbs up video, if you're enjoying this, definitely do us a favor, hit the like button. It helps us out a ton.
Give it a big slammo.
Yeah, give it a slammo, just like the street chat.
Put some rollerblades on it and give it a slammo.
We are on number 2, Daniel, right?
I think so. Yeah. Kenner's 1986 to 91 Ghostbusters.
Real Ghostbusters.
So that's the second wave, I believe. Right?
So the real Ghostbusters wave, there were multiple waves. There was like 12 waves total.
Right. I think number 2 is my favorite.
The line in general was
the whole line,
yeah. So you're putting the whole line. Maybe I should have been more specific in the assignment. We've got like fucking Donnelly talking about super soakers, and then some of us are on action figure lines, and others are on specific waves. I guess that's on me. But
I guess I would just say the line. And if I had to get hyper specific, I would say wave 2 especially. But
gotcha.
I really love that release. That like those action figures were great. They came with awesome little little monsters and weapons and or ghosts.
They sure did.
Alive.
They sure did.
Yep.
Amazing line. That's all I'm gonna say right now. Because it may or may not be on my list. But
foreshadow.
Love that line. Rich, number 2.
All right, smartass. So
Voltron.
He's like shit.
Fuck.
Yep, that's what I got here.
Yeah. So number 2, Voltron.
you can take Lincoln logs from the chat.
I love it. Oh, Lincoln logs. Lincoln logs are so good.
Tim and I have been doing this for years. I'm surprised. I'm actually a little bit surprised. I was hoping he would get everything in order, but he got most of it.
Dude, I just had him reversed.
Yeah.
Because
let me ask you this, Rich.
I'm pretty sure we did a ranking years ago.
If you're about to ask me Lion versus Vehicle Voltron, is that what you're going to ask me?
Me?
No.
Which one?
No. Somebody said, "Can I ask you something?"
Oh, Rich. Yeah. Sorry. Did you want to finish your line?
No. Go ahead. Ask away.
So I was going to ask you, how much of your time setting these lists are you working against yourself or against him? Like, are you like, I need to pick something that he's not going to guess the order of, but I do need it to be exactly what I like.
Give me a hell yeah! What?
Look at it and you're like, is that Tim's list or is that my list?
I knew my top 4 pretty much immediately. I struggled. There's a couple contenders, but I knew pretty much right away what my top 4 was going to be in what order.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was always going to be
snapped to you pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, another giant transforming robot toy. Much bigger fan of the Lion Voltron than the vehicle Voltron. There's actually 3 Voltrons in the line, but they so originally the Lion Voltron cartoon came out. That was a huge hit. No one predicted the success. There was a vehicle Voltron that was already in production. They released the cartoon, and the toy was not nearly as popular as the Lion Voltron, so they scrapped plans for the 3rd Voltron show. They still produced the toy, which was the lamest of the 3. But yeah, I am squarely in the Lion Voltron camp. Vehicle Voltron's pretty cool, but yeah, the Lion Voltron is what made me fall in love with the toy line and the show. Yeah,
solid.
And if anybody's been paying attention to the chat, probably have seen cats jump around behind me, and so I'm a big cat guy, so obviously the lions.
Rich, you've always been a pussy lover. So my number 2 is pretty cut and dry here. Gonna just jump right in, and
there it is.
So you touched on it, Dan. You definitely touched on it. The real Ghostbusters. So not only were they one of the greatest toy lines of all time, so great that they in fact re-released them a couple of years back in the stores, the exact replicas. You had such a different take on all 4 characters, on Ray and Egon. I look at Egon and how different he is, like just the different takes, the monsters that they came with, the vehicles, the play sets. You had one of the greatest toy play sets of all time. Kenner Real Ghostbusters Firehouse. Okay.
I had it.
A Firehouse play set that had the containment unit. And if you find one complete with that containment unit, it's that much more valuable to find one in that complete sense.
Yeah.
You also have the Ecto 1, the Ecto 1A. You had all the ghosts. The ghosts were unbelievably fun. You had like Gooper Ghost. You had the ghost with the tongue. You could pull a little thing on the bottom and his tongue would slide around.
Yes.
You had the ectoplasm cans that came with a slime. It's what kids today, now they make their own slime. Like that shit was fucking ectoplasm long before you were making it and calling it slime. Okay. That is ectoplasm, just not labeled correctly. That's all.
There's no spectral energy in the one that you make at home.
Nothing.
You have to buy it from the company to get the
exactly. You got to order that special.
You have to order the Spectre deflector.
I always wanted the trap that you could stomp on it.
The trap. I had it. I had it. It was a light blue trap. Yep.
Yeah.
Those figures were fantastic. I loved them. And like you said, Dan, there were multiple waves, and I didn't want to. I wanted to comment, but I didn't want to like give away that.
Oh no, I looked at every wave. No, I was like, this was my wave. Like, I'm like, this is the.
You had like the Fright Features wave. You had the Ecto Glow wave. You had so many different ones. You had, and they all did different things. So certain ones, like you had the Screaming Heroes wave, where you squeeze the legs and their eyes would pop out. And
I still have the grandma.
Fantastic, yeah.
I still have the grandma that opens up.
It's the most fun. Like it is such a fun toy line.
Yeah.
And honestly,
were you a fan of the show?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely.
It was one of my absolute favorite shows.
Oh my God, and does it hold up today? It holds up today, just as well as any of those original cartoons. And best theme song too. Yes, absolutely right. They made comic books. I have the comic books here. I have the figures. I have all of it. I'm gonna collect those until the day I croak, which. I don't care. I'll be 93 years. Well, let's be honest. I will never be 93. But let's say I make it to 70. I'm still going to have Real Ghostbusters figures. So with a bullet, number 2, Real Ghostbusters. And now for our final round, we've got number 1, Donnelly.
My number 1 is probably the only toy that I still actively collect today that is considered toys.
I know what it is.
I collect video games and things like that. I collect records. I collect some comics. I don't really collect toys.
I collect Canadian quarters. Got about 6 of them.
How about that? Careful, Tim. They're going to come and storm your house. No, it would be Legos, though.
Yeah.
Legos Classic Lego is the series in line that I was specifically thinking of when you would just buy buckets of hundreds of pieces of Legos that weren't meant for any kind of a set. And then you get your green pad and you set it down, and then you start with a house, and then it turns into a castle, and then it turns into, whatever else your imagination takes you with it, in like hours and hours and hours, combining Duplos with regular Legos, and just Legos, #1 toy of my opinion of all time, best toy ever.
Hell yeah.
I can't fault that, man. Like #1, I cannot fault it. Like, definitely, you could buy it as a set and challenge yourself to build a set. You could build these amazing sets. I still remember one of my favorites ever was the pirate ship. Do you remember that one?
I do.
With the cloth.
Yep, the cloth sails.
It was a 2-piece that bound in the middle with the 2 blocks.
Exactly.
There.
Yep.
You had the medieval castle with the knights and the big dragon with the fire breathing. Like, you could buy these amazing sets and put them together, right? And I know Karen remembers buying them because I'm pretty sure I got that castle one as a Christmas present. It was a huge set. It was huge. I don't know, whatever that cost then, I would imagine would be like $300 today.
It's always been a top tier toy price.
Yeah. Or like you said, Donnelly, you could just have a bin, filled with loose Legos and use your imagination and create your own stuff. And like, I think Legos, Lincoln Logs, Technics, any of that stuff is so good for kids growing up. I mean, you turn out just like all of us.
Good for your brains,
right?
Clearly.
And you also get chances to create like your own secret code, because I feel like that every family had their own way of referring to the bricks.
Sure. Like, give me a 2 block, give me a 3 block. Or whatever.
I need a 2-2. We used to say.
I need a 2 short and a 2 fat.
Yeah, like 2 or a 4.
My parents just referred to them all the same way. God damn it! When they'd step on one barefooted, that was how they referred to it.
Yep, the most dangerous toy too.
So it teaches you pain management. It teaches you how to read blueprints. It teaches you problem solving.
It teaches you regret.
Yep.
It teaches you
when you put something together and it's in the wrong spot.
Oh my God!
This was before the days of the tool.
Yes.
When you had to hit your nail and try to get
teeth marks in my Lego. Rich had it right.
Yeah. Rich had a little cocaine nail.
How we didn't all choke is beyond me. Definitely. I only didn't put it on my my list because I tried to go with specific franchises, but it's certainly one of my absolute favorite toy lines or toys of all time.
And that's where I thought it was interesting, because I don't have a single action figure line on my list, but that's not really what I played with as a kid.
Sure.
My toys were different, and we didn't have the action figures. We didn't have sets. I would get one-offs of one series of action figure. Like I had a Michelangelo from the TMNT series, and that was it. Didn't really have much else.
Around. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite Lego set?
It was just the classics, like you can still buy a Lego Classic series, and it's just a mishmash of pieces. It doesn't have any of the special angular pieces or making, for the flat sides and stuff like that. And it's just, that was my favorite, and that still is my favorite. Like I'll just sit there and just grab a handful. I've got a whole bin back here of just random Legos and just sit there and tinkering with it, or playing with the kids still, watching what they create. Yes, and then, me and my son, we like to do battles, or he does battles with his brother where they build up these Lego things and they start attacking each other with them. Yeah. It's just fun to have that creativity run wild versus getting locked into a specific set.
100%. And it's also, there's something to be said for that line, those kind of toys where if you get a duplicate at like a birthday or Christmas, it doesn't matter, because you can just, now you have more I can make a bigger castle now. I can fuse these 2 castles together, and there's literally no, like, oh, I've got to save the receipt and go down there and exchange it for something.
You're just building your army.
Right.
Yeah, you're just building it up. Exactly. Like,
whereas nowadays I collect all the like actual pop culture style sets, I call them. Like I've got the NES set, I've got the Office set, I've got
those are so cool.
Seinfeld apartment and
the Seinfeld apartment. Like I have all of those things, So that's more of what I'm collecting now, and I'm more focused on sets than I was on the loose pieces. But loose pieces as a kid all the way.
Do you collect minifigures too?
Do I what? Minifigs?
Minifigures?
Yeah, and the minifigs that come with the sets. I'll purchase certain like Star Wars sets. Like I picked up the Imperial Walker set just so I could have, these specific minifigs here. Didn't need the Imperial Walker set. You know, it was a little cheap set, but it came with you know, the droids. And,
I love it.
And like I wanted to make sure that I got the set so I could have like Din Djarin.
Yeah,
with awesome. The Beskar spear. So
that's amazing.
Yep, things like that. You know, I do get certain sets specifically for the minifigs. Oh, and also in honor of Ahsoka, I had to get myself
a
that's
cool.
minifig.
That is dope.
Cool.
Yeah,
I love the minifigs too, because like the way people display them sometimes is they'll have like they'll have like the big Lego board on the wall with like little shelves built in.
Yep.
What's cool about those is you can collect so many without taking up a ton of space.
Mm-hmm.
Like, trust me, I've thought of diving down that rabbit hole, and I've
got them on my computer. There
yeah,
you go. Kermit.
Yep.
Kermit. I didn't do it for
you. If anybody's been to a
Lego,
Legoland, but at the Legolands, the one at least in New York that they have, they've got an entire wall that's got over 1,000 minifigures all set up on the wall, and it's just so cool to like look through that and spot ones that you're like, wow, I didn't even know they made a minifig out of that.
Yep.
Yeah, the minifigs are great. Like you said, they don't take up a ton of space. You can have a huge collection and not have to have a separate McMansion just to put it all in.
Oh no, don't say that, Ashley, because that's going to be
Tim. That's why I have all these
opening floodgates to something that you don't understand.
And I'll tell you what, all these bases I got here, these are all 3D printed. I 3D print the bases for them, so I can set them all up.
Love it.
Put them on display and everything like that.
That's a great number one. I respect it. Dan, number one.
Number one, Kenner Deluxe Beast Wars Transformers.
Oh, Beast
wow.
Wars.
Oh,
Beast Wars is my favorite.
This is a love letter to Rich's Transformer lineup. We got to do Beast Wars.
Yeah, I'm not a Beast Wars guy, but
I know you're not, but it's Transformers. At least it's the closest I'm going to get. Beast Wars is my favorite Transformer, favorite action figure to play with of all time. You could just spend hours just doing it. Never mind even having the fight. Like you'd be, oh, I got to transform, Rat Trap, and like, okay, now Megatron's ready, and come over here and do this one. It's like it would take up your whole day, but you'd have one fight, and you would be like, yeah, that was good, that was a good fight, and like it was, yeah. I had a bunch of those. I committed to getting a lot of those ones. I had some of the ultra sets. I had the regular, the base sets. I had almost all of them, I think. But yeah, and they also hold up. They were also very durable toys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever had any of them, to be honest.
I had so many of them. To the point where I when I grew up, I just gave them all to my cousin. Like he just played with them. Like they were all still intact for the most part.
Awesome.
Yeah, Scorpionox. I had him. When you opened his claw, he shot a missile right in your eye because you wanted to open the claw to see, and it would hit you right in the eye.
What's in here?
The tail, so you can't see. There's a trigger on the back of the tail there, and it snaps it forward so you can sting. I mean, the toys are an engineering feat. If you get one of these in your hands at any point, like I would order one just to hold it if you didn't collect them. Like they're serious, they're heavy, they're strong. You could drop those down the stairs with a million points of articulation and they would still hold together. Like
interesting.
Yeah. So I have a drawer full. I've got missiles and guns from those things. Like, yeah, I got so many pieces. But yeah, Beast Wars 100% of the time for me.
Love it. Rich, number one.
Well, you know. So obviously my who can't figure out still can't figure out how to transform.
Oh, it's my wife Becky. She plays with them. Like I ordered some brand new ones for my son when he was like 3, and you can still get them brand new in the packaging for like $11. And like you get them and they're ready to go. And yeah, they're the little piece will fall off, and she's like, you do this for him. You just do this for him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They've definitely become more complicated over the years. It's actually pretty crazy.
What a great segue to Rich's number one.
Yeah. So number one, obviously, Tim, you know this. We've been talking about collections and things for years and years. So, yep. So clearly, my number one pick is Rainbow Bright.
Rainbow Bright. Nice.
He almost made me spit take.
Oh my God.
I love Rainbow Bright.
Yeah. I know that's not what you're expecting, but
yeah. Right.
So obviously my number one is the OG Transformers.
G1, right?
Yeah, G1. Clearly a theme throughout my top 5 is giant transforming robots, but Transformers, they were the ones that stood the test of time. they're still making movies. There's one coming out in June. Is it out in June, Dan?
The Beast Wars movie?
Yeah, it's a Beast Wars movie.
Yeah.
God damn right it is.
Yeah.
I don't know when it comes out, but I'm so fucking excited for it.
I think it's June. I mean,
I love Beast Wars also. I never had the toys, but I love them.
I was a big fan of the cartoon, that's for sure.
The cartoon was insane. The video games are awesome.
It was one of the early CGI cartoons.
They had everything.
So Transformers, I collect them to this day. The originals, I mentioned.
How many do you have? Do you think?
Oh, at this point, hundreds. Yeah, I mean,
it's how many in totes?
It's a lot.
I guess. So generation 1, how many are in that just alone?
Hundreds.
Really? Hundreds of that? Just that one series?
So generation 1 officially spans from 1984 until 1992. And then it transitioned into Gen 2, which was essentially a re-release of certain G1 figures just repainted. There are some new figures, some new molds. They weren't particularly popular. So after that, Transformers took several years off. And then the next line after G2 was Beast Wars, which was hugely popular and kind of rebooted and reignited the franchise. And it has been going strong since.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have to respect the original. You have to.
You do have to.
You must.
So, yeah, that's my number 1.
It's a good roundup.
I love it. Transformers did not make my list. Not a Transformers guy, but I respect it. And I know you're diehard, so I respect the hell out of it. Not even going to talk shit there because it's a great toy line. It's a toy line I wish I had an attachment to. I just can't get into them. And I've thought about getting a few. We've had discussions. But
Tim, just buy one Beast War and just hold it in your hand.
I can't buy one of anything. We all know that.
No, you're not going to buy one. You're going to buy one to start. You're going to hold it, and you're going to see, holy crap, these things are insanely what do you call it? Like they have. There's so many different hinges and missiles and yeah.
Just
I'm telling you, man, look them up. Just look up a really cool one and try to find it and try to buy it. They're insane.
I might. I'm going to try to find one.
I would.
So with that being said, number 1, I'm finishing us off, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. That being said.
So number 1, as you can probably guess, I know you probably can, right, Rich?
I mean,
I have a sneaking suspicion.
Yeah. So number 1 with a bullet, Playmates, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not even an argument or a debate, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the greatest toy line there is. The figures themselves, the accessories, the plethora of accessories that they all came with. Okay. Yeah. The play sets, the vehicles, you had the sewer, you had the Technodrome, you had the party wagon, you had the pizza thrower. You had
the pizza thrower is so good.
Dude, you could just literally blind children for life with one press of a button. Like, why wouldn't you want that?
That was my favorite Turtles
vehicle. You want your children to have that.
It's so good.
I can't say enough about it. I still collect turtles to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I mean, I literally just showed this friggin' blimp off.
Yep.
So I'm friggin' Donna. But so I can't say enough about it. Turtles are still relevant today, and they were started in 1984 when the first Eastman and Laird comic came out in my hometown. And they're still relevant today. So that being said, my number 1 with a bullet. For sure.
Yep. They did such a great job with those toys. And you know what? They also back then they made them durable on purpose. They knew what you were going to do with them, and they made them hardy.
Yeah, they knew what the kids wanted. They wanted something to play with.
The turtles were on a different level. I mean,
yeah.
Transformers, they broke very easily. You got frustrated. You started
and to hinge the wrong way.
Yeah, they look
snap
good.
an arm off, snap a leg off. GI Joes, as we've already mentioned, they had the rubber band at the waist that snapped. But yeah, the Turtles were just built different.
Yep.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, we went a little bit over here. Any final thoughts from anybody?
I don't think so for me.
No, I mean, I think that we covered a lot of different variety here. I really enjoyed that. A lot of great comments tonight too. So love that.
I agree.
Yeah,
somebody earlier in the chat mentioned Micro Machines.
Yes.
So just need to call that out.
Hot Wheels. I'm surprised that was not on the list.
Yeah, Hot Wheels and Micro Machines didn't make anybody's list.
Micro Machines would have made top 10 of mine.
The other one that I wanted to throw out there was the Mighty Max.
Mighty Max
is incredible.
And then going
open them up.
They had the girls' version, the Polly Pocket.
Yes, they did. Yep.
They were the boys' Polly Pocket. I had Mount Skull or whatever, the Volcano Mountain. I had the little Virgil action figure. I had the Magma dude, the big Magma guy that he would deploy like little flame bikes.
I love the cartoon. The cartoon was so good.
Again, I know you guys are a few years younger than I am. Does anybody remember Chuck Norris's Karate Commandos?
No.
Okay.
I do not, but it sounds amazing.
It was so good. It was a limited line, the show tank, the toy line tank, but the toys were fantastic.
They couldn't get Chuck Norris's soul compressed into the action figure, so they just didn't sell.
God.
Or maybe the action figures were so powerful reproductions of Chuck Norris that it was just injuring kids left and right.
These are just cheap mockeries.
The main bad guy, he was a Super Ninja. I don't know if you can pull that up. He looked awesome.
What an 8-year-old name for a character.
Super Ninja, right?
So I have 5 ninjas he has to beat. Who can beat 5 ninjas?
Monty remembers. That's fantastic. I'm glad somebody remembers.
Monty would remember that.
Oh my God, really? Is this?
You better have
I think I found it.
Cape or something.
Is that it?
Yes.
Oh my God. What is that?
That's a Super Ninja. The unholy combination.
He had like a karate, like a spring-loaded karate chop. He was cooler, in person. That's a bad. That's a bad picture.
He's cooler in small groups of people. When you get too many people around, he's crazy.
That's a terrible picture. Adds like 10 pounds.
That looks like a prototype of Predator. That's a Predator prototype,
right?
Yeah, that's like, no, we need like 35 to 45% more scary.
Chuck Norris's Karate Commandos predated Predator. I am pretty sure. I
think they get a court case going.
That looks horrible.
It was so good. I can't even tell you.
It's so bad. I bet it's good. But with that being said, we are over on time. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight for our top 5 greatest toy lines from our childhood. We are here on YouTube every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place. We also at Nerdstalgia Pod on all of our socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you are not already following us, if you're not already subscribed, do so you don't miss anything. If you are watching this right now live, hit the thumbs up button. That helps us also. It helps the algorithm. But with that being said, for Donnelly, for Rich, for Dan, I am Tim. I want to thank you all for joining us as always, and enjoy yourselves. Enjoy yourselves with your
shrinky dinks.
Your shrinky dinks.
May your dinks be shrinky. May your slamoos be big. I wish you all good tidings and many oozes in your hair.
Oh my God. Oh. No ectoplasm in your hair.
Just ruin your carpet with that stuff, man. You can just make it for like 35 cents now. They used to sell it for like $10 a pack. Come on. Jesus.
We will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your nights. Catch you later.
Smell you later.
See you, everyone.